Let's call it what it is. It's a transition device and not a dumb phone, but that doesn't make it bad. In fact, I think it's a pretty good transition device for the price. Hello and welcome to DumbphonesUK. My name's Joseph and today we're looking at the TT280 phone. Tough to say, that one. This is a little 4G candy bar phone that runs Android 13, has a touchscreen and a keypad for T9 texting. So I am going to unbox this today. We're going to hop in and we're going to see what it's like together. Welcome to the TTFone family. Here we go. Within this box, it's nice and simple. We have got USB-C charging cable, we have got the battery, and then we have got the phone itself, which is bigger than I thought it was going to be. Okay. We're going to come back to that. All the standard stuff, the user manual. We'll figure all that out. What we have here is a SIM card, 1 slot, 2 slot, micro SD card. I'm going to first just pop the battery in and just see what this device is like. Make sure I line those pins up. That's fairly snug. Just vibrated and we are turning on. While we wait for this to turn on, I'm currently running the Sleek device, and that's a Google Pixel 7 with the lockdown OS on it. I just wanted to compare sort of size of devices. So the TTFone is slightly thicker and, I mean, as expected, much smaller lengthways, tall ways. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, please do subscribe. It helps me, it helps you, it helps the channel. It means I can buy more phones like the TT280, but also it means I can run my Substack, where if you hop over now, you can enter a giveaway to win this, and maybe the TT will make it there too. It's free, it's fun, it's about phones, nostalgia, comedy, things that I think you would like. So it'd be lovely to see you over there. Swipe up to open. Ooh, okay, let's hop in and see the version of Android that this is running. Android 13. I'm going to take this off because right now it feels like when you have to sign when someone's delivered a parcel. It's not very good. Yeah, it still feels a bit like that, in all honesty. It feels a bit sticky as a screen. So we've got our camera on this device. Again, we would expect this camera to be not particularly good. Okay, we're starting a video. You can see I'm moving it. The screen is slightly laggy, but we'll see how it comes out. Okay, we're starting a video. You can see I'm moving it. The screen is slightly laggy. The screen is slightly laggy, but we'll see how it comes out. We're also going to do the standard video of me chatting away. I don't know if I'm in this. Okay, so this is me playing the video that I've just created on the device, and volume says it's up full. Let me just check in settings that is the case. I'm not sure how truthful that was because it didn't feel very loud. Media volume, it currently says media volume is absolutely full. Well, if that is the case, that is not loud. That was as loud as it goes, as far as I can tell, unless I have got a faulty device. I also just wanted to show you that there is a QR code reader. It's fairly well hidden on this camera, and the camera, as we've already seen, you know, it's not particularly good. But in the top left here, if you click this button, it will open up modes for you. We have a normal mode or we have a QR code scanner mode. If I select QR code scanner, you will see please put a QR code into the frame. So this enables and allows you to use QR codes with this device. It doesn't do it if you have it set to the normal mode. So I thought it was useful to flag that up. Okay, so I can choose my input method. I'm going to try Gboard. Blimey, that takes up the majority of the screen. I'm going to change my input method. So I'm now on the device keyboard. What I'm going to do is be texting using these keys here. Just for anybody new, for me to get an H or an E, which is what I want next, I would double click this key. So that's all I'm doing. By clicking this button here, if I click it, capital EN, you should be able to see. It's interesting, it doesn't have a sort of predictive text, so it's not trying to guess what I'm trying to say here. So typing is a little slower. I don't hate it. I don't hate the typing, and to delete, it's just all of that. One thing I don't like is that it doesn't have a D-pad. This is basically an enter key, as far as I can tell. It's enter. I suppose the D-pad, so let me just type some gibberish, just so we've got stuff. I suppose the fact it doesn't have a D-pad is because use the screen as your place to move around. I see. Obviously, the text is absolutely tiny on here. So let's hop back out and let's go into our settings. And let's see if we can change accessibility. So display, text and size, this is what they're currently set to. I'm going to set them to the biggest. I'm also going to make the text bold as well. Okay, so now let's pop back into messages here. No, it hasn't really made a difference. The point at which this is going to make a difference is going to be outside of the texting app. So accessibility wise, it's going to be a hard one to recommend. The other type of keyboard, the Google voice typing. This is me testing the Google keyboard and just typing to see if it works. This is me testing Google voice typing, just chatting away. I'm about a foot away from the phone. Okay. Network not connected. It says I'm connected to 4G in this top corner, so let's try that again. We're testing again to see if this can work, and it seems that it's fine. I am about a foot away from the phone, full stop, new paragraph. This seems to be working quite well. That's a nano SIM, isn't it? So that's why I stuck this on the back of it. We're going to pop the battery back in. Again, a very snug fit into there. Pop the case back on the back. Perfect, we can see that that is working. I have got 4G. It's just everything on this screen is very small, even after increasing the text size. Let's just go through the buttons on this device then. So the green button here takes you to your contacts, your call history, to be able to call as expected. So let's come out of that. We then have this button. You're not able to, it's not like a touchpad or a trackpad, but it's an enter button. So whatever it is highlighting, it will open that one. This red one takes you back, basically, is your back button, as well as having the on-screen Android one here. Standard numeric keys down here. If I hold that, it does have a lock on it, but it doesn't do anything currently. I don't know if I have to change that. And this one changes it to vibrate mode, normal mode, silent mode. Okay, so the hash key changes whether it's on normal, silent, vibrate, and then the 0 says it has a torch as well, so I'm going to hold the 0. And there's the little torch on the back. Okay, been quite well thought out. Let's try the lock again. No, so clearly the lock has not been set up yet. Volume buttons, and then we also have our power on, power off button, and then no more buttons on the side. We just have a headphone jack here, which is a nice feature. And then we also have our USB-C connection as well. One great thing about this phone is it comes with the Play Store pre-installed. So pre-certified, which is great. Obviously, some people might want to de-Google their device, and you can do all of that. But having the Play Store on this device gives you that access to all of those apps that you might want to download. So that is a real nice feature for it to have. I'm going to hop into Maps now. It's asking me to sign in. There is actually a skip button on the top right here, but you'll see the sort of small screen. These are some of the issues you might run into. It's not the end of the world, but it's just worth noting, so I am going to skip that. I don't need to see what's going on. So if I search for something, let's search for my standard Fulham Football Club, what I always search for. I'm going to go from Croydon. So let's see. There we go, it gives us instructions. Let's see whether it's able to load. It is perfect. So it's suggesting that if I go by rail, I take this route and I go Croydon. It gives me the platform, the times. That's all working. The other thing I wanted to show you was I've now set a passcode on this device. One nice thing about that is you can just have your screen open like this and you can type in the passcode. Then click the enter button here and that will unlock. The passcode isn't shown on screen, so that's a really nice feature for the device. I'm just using the stock launcher that comes installed. I haven't changed anything. I've also selected this as my browser and I just wanted to show you basically how it looks when you render a web page. So I'm just on BBC Sport here. And it's quite small, you can zoom in. It's relatively small text-wise. Obviously, I increased the text size, but I just wanted to note and flag that it's quite small. So it's not going to be used for a massive amount of sort of scrolling the web. It does have parental controls. We have our parental controls that we can set up. We can use Google's parental controls on this, which is a really good thing to be able to achieve and use on a phone. I think it was worth calling that out because this could be a really nice sort of starter phone based on cost and what it can and can't do. So it's just worth calling out. One thing I think it's worth mentioning quickly before I go on to the pros and the cons and my thoughts on it is I am sending this device back. Now, I'm sending this device back because the battery is impossible for me to get in and out. I did hop online, I asked a few people who have this device and a lot of them have said, it isn't that hard, maybe it's something that you're doing. It's so hard to get out. The battery itself just feels not quite right. I reached out to the lovely people who make the TTFone and they were very quick to respond and they asked me to send them a video and they said, that's not right, please send it back. So I will be sending it back, aiming to get another one and seeing whether the battery's any better on that. The other thing as well was the audio. Again, the audio in the video that I showed you was so quiet, and I couldn't hop in and change volume limiter. Again, another thing they've said, not quite right, please send it back. But I don't think that makes it a bad phone. I actually think it's quite nice that they're very happy to respond and get a new device out to me and help out. All of those things are quite good. They're listening to feedback, which I do think means that we might end up with a proper D-pad eventually here, but I'll come on to that. Now the pros of this device. I think form factor is a pro, to be honest. A candy bar phone that runs Android, that has a touch screen, and it all comes for well under £100. Yes please, that is a big plus in my book. I think the fact that you can install apps on here. So if you wanted to, you could have WhatsApp, you could have Beeper, you can have things like that. So communication wise, you can be up to date, you can be chatting away to your friends, group messages work, MMS work, all of that sort of stuff works. That's all really positive. You could as well install Instagram. I've not done it, I don't want to do it. I don't think this will be the right device for it. Stuff will be a bit laggy. You saw the playback of the video and how it was quite slow. I would argue that it's not going to be great, but the possibility to do it is there. So maybe what I'm thinking is this might be a really good starter phone for children. Parents might decide they do want to have parental controls, tick, it's got that. They might also understand that their kid might want to have Instagram or, I suppose, be able to chat away to friends on an instant messenger. This phone is able to do that, but the fact that it has some limitations and it's a bit slow will mean that perhaps it's not used all that much. So I'm thinking maybe it might be quite a nice little starter device. The other things that I've noticed with this device, I do think that it's been thought out really well. I like the sort of big bold colours. I know that some people are going to hate that and going to want to change it to a different launcher. That's fine. But from my side, I think out the box, it's not too bad. And especially for that price. Can't argue with that. So obviously the cons that I've mentioned of the battery being very hard to remove, arguably that seems like it's a problem that I've got with this specific device, this specific one, not in general. Also, the volume being too low, again, it feels like that's an issue with this one, but the good news is they're willing to replace it and they've done all that very quickly. I also think there are cons in terms of accessibility. Like, I went through increasing the text size and I don't think it really improved that much. It does have all the accessibility features of Android within this device, but because of this small screen and that stuff isn't designed for it, like I showed you on the maps, you saw that the skip button kind of got caught up in the text. That sort of stuff is going to happen on a device like this. And sure, maybe you understand that and maybe you're willing to accept that. But I do think it's worth calling out as a bit of a con. I also think this not being a trackpad is a con as well, because fairly naturally you kind of go to using this as a trackpad. Naturally, all it does is enter, because it has the feeling of a BlackBerry trackpad. And obviously we all love and know and remember that BlackBerries you'd be able to swipe and it'd move on screen. You can't do any of that with this one. So I do think a future iteration of this device might have this as a D-pad, and that would be really, really nice. But not being able to move with that, potentially a slight oversight, but not the end of the world. But I think ultimately the cost of this device makes it a really attractive proposition. Let's call it what it is. It's a transition device and not a dumb phone, but that doesn't make it bad. In fact, I think it's a pretty good transition device for the price. Please like, please subscribe. It's very, very useful. It means I can bring you more phones as they come out. And I think we are seeing the golden boom of phones like this. More and more are propping up and cropping up. So for me to be able to review them and show you what they're like, please do like and subscribe. It really, really helps. Other than that, have a lovely one. I'm off to go and send this at the post office. Bye-bye.